Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the PIES Committee. At this time, we'll have approval of the minutes from October 21st.
We no longer approve the minutes at committee. Old
Don't
template.
we? Old template. Let's get rid of that. Well, we're going to start off today with interviews for our Climate Resiliency Sustainability Board, and we have two applicants here today. We're going to start with Catherine Alexander. Come on up. Welcome. Good to see you.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate this.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So my name is Catherine Alexander. I live in Bemis, have been involved in the neighborhoods for 10 plus years, and now have kind of gotten involved in the environment. So I have a company called Soil Smart, Soil Wise, which you should have some information on. And our focus is in helping cities, which means residents and government, really think about how to be resilient and what they can do to impact the climate where they are. So that's been my focus for the last year.
Any other questions for Catherine? Councilmember Keckar.
Yeah, just first off, just thank you for all the time and effort that you've put in your neighborhood and District 1 in general. So I appreciate your civic involvement. I think that's important. But second, I would just generically ask, I mean, where do you think the focus should be from this committee's perspective? What are the one or two, three things that you think they should really be focused on moving into the next couple of years?
For me, it comes to two things. One would be the bionic pump, which is probably a longer conversation than we have time for. And the other would be to make Spokane a sponge city. And if you're interested in that, I have a really wonderful article that I will send. There's sort of a worldwide movement where a number of cities around the world are discovering that if they make their soil able to hold water, that they can maintain a cooler climate given the heat that's coming. So it is actually a strategy to keep the city cool, which has been an issue in lots of different ways. I mean, we had a wonderful survey by Gonzaga that really proved that we have problems here. So this is another way of dealing with that.
I appreciate that, and I don't know that I fully understand either. I will definitely look into both, but I appreciate, frankly, the out-of-the-box thoughts. I think that's a lot. We need a lot more of that in these conversations.
Thank you. And I will be willing to sit down with you and explain it in more detail. No problem.
Any other questions for Catherine? I echo Councilmember Cathcart's your commitment to volunteerism for the city, Catherine. So thank you for stepping up in this area as well.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks.
Any other questions?
It got off easy. Next up, we're going to have Leah Molina. Welcome, Leah.
Hello, everyone.
Hello. Hey, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Hello, my name is Leah Molina. My pronouns are she, her, they, them. My role currently is I work as the Environmental Justice Program Manager for Asians for Collective Liberation in Spokane. I've been in that role now for a couple of months. I am fairly new to Spokane. I've been here almost 2 years. I'm originally from Bakersfield, California, and I have been subject to climate change my entire life. It's affected my health and the health of my family, so it's something that I've always been extremely passionate about on a personal level. I've always tried to find ways that I can to share with people my age and other people about the true effects of climate change. And as I am a new citizen here in Washington and Spokane, I've really looked for ways that I can get involved and be an active citizen. So that's why I'm here.
I know that environmental justice has really come to the forefront in the last few years, something that wasn't addressed or even talked about on a holistic matter. So where do you see this committee, or how do you see them playing in that environmental justice role?
Sure. I see this committee playing a lot of roles. One in particular is addressing the infrastructure here in Spokane and how that infrastructure can be better suited to be active in facing climate change in the future. I think that can work in a lot of ways. One in particular is finding ways in which we can better serve bicyclists and how they move in our city. On another note, I think that this committee can really address the disparities as it relates to health when it comes to low-income folks who are directly affected by climate change. I think that a lot of the time those folks are left out of the conversation, and I see myself as somebody who can represent those voices because I'm somebody who's actively asking those community members for their opinions on climate change. I'm also currently doing a survey as well as reviewing other surveys like the Gonzaga survey to see how our communities are affected and to see what they're looking for. So I really see myself as somebody who's an advocate for the people, and I see that my voice being used in that way in this committee.
Great, thank you. Any other questions for her? Leah, thank you so much, and thank you
Thank
for
you all.
stepping up.
Thank you.
Next, we're going to do a little information only. We're going to have the 4100 Upriver Dam relicensing process. And Janine Finger is going to come up and share that with us. And our agenda's wrong, Janine. We'd actually allocated 10 minutes because they said it might take a little bit more time than 5.
It should be the down arrow, Jeannie.
The down arrow?
Down
I'll
arrow.
move it? Okay, got it. Well, good afternoon. My name is Jeannie Finger. I'm the Chief Dam Safety Engineer at Upriver Dam. I am here to give an informational session on a upcoming multi-year project.
Hold on, Jeannie.
Okay. There we go. Nope. Okay. So this session will cover the topics shown on the slide. I'll cover a quick background and then go over the scope, schedule, and budget today. The city of Spokane has long owned and operated a dam at Upriver. While the original purpose has changed, today the dam diverts Spokane River water to our powerhouses where we generate electricity for our groundwater well pumps. Savings from the avoided power purchase are passed on to our drinking water customers. We came under the jurisdiction of the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission when we were developing our second powerhouse. We obtained our first license in 1981. Since then, we've operated in compliance with the federal regulations. Recently, we have met with consulting firms, other licensees, and the FERC to understand and plan for steps to take before and after our 50-year license expires in 2031. The Federal Power Act gives FERC the authority to license projects. FERC also has the responsibility to take into account hydropower impacts on communities and ecosystems. For the city, the relicensing process, it will include collecting data, leveraging city staff and resources, engaging stakeholders, scoping, developing applications, conducting studies, resolving disputes, and acquiring permits. It's a three-way shared decision-making between the city, the FERC, and many stakeholders. It's also a once-in-a-generation opportunity to affect change in our operations or a reason to benefit natural or cultural resources. The process begins in 2025 with preparation of the pre-application document, or the PAD. This pre-filing stage is the best time for the city to determine our risk appetite, identify critical outcomes, and develop important relationships before we file the Notice of Intent, or NOI, in 2026. Following that time will be 3 years where we design and implement our studies, and ultimately we'll file our license application. At this point, in 2029, FERC will conduct an environmental analysis, and at this time, they'll receive mandatory conditions and recommendations for the license from other federal and state agencies. Then in the final 2 years of the process, the city will obtain all required permits and authorizations. FERC will issue our license with protection, mitigation, and enhancement measures, which could possibly include but not be limited to, for example, fish passage, flow requirements, and new recreational amenities. We are aware of some issues that we may face in this process. Compared to other types of energy and water infrastructure, hydropower relicensing includes more federal and state agencies. That adds to the length and complexity. Environmental study negotiations are a source of stakeholder disagreement. Bull trout is a known endangered species in our area. The Upper Columbia United Tribes have embarked on initiatives for fish passage and habitat restoration. A representative from the Spokane tribe visited Upriver Dam last year to request open dialogue on these and other issues, knowing that we had relicensing coming up. Property owners, kayakers, and anglers upstream and downstream of the dam have recreational interests. Finally, other licensees say it impacts a lot of their staff time. Even with a consultant on board, we can expect a level of effort of approximately a half an FTE. A couple of nearby comparable projects provide some ballpark cost data points. Avista's Spokane River Dams relicensed in 2009. There was no settlement agreement and no fish passage, yet the cost was almost $13 million. Montana Department of Natural Resources has a project in relicensing right now, similar in size to Upriver Dam. They have spent millions of dollars so far. They're not quite done. Costs for 10 to 50 megawatt facilities range in the hundreds of thousands to the millions of dollars. This is for consultant fees, legal fees, and permit fees. A rough order of magnitude estimate for Upriver, with the assumptions shown on the slide, range from $1 to $5 million. Protection, mitigation, and enhancement measure projects, if required, will be extra. FERC relicensing budget estimates have been included in the 6-year capital improvement plan annually starting in 2025. We anticipate issuing a consultant request for qualifications and adding staff at Upriver in the upcoming months.
Councilmember Keghart.
Yeah, I appreciate the presentation. Thank you. And it's really unfortunate to see how expensive and challenging it is for these simple things to get done. But government's the way it works. But my question is, do we have data on what the impacts, financial impacts would be if this is not relicensed? To me, that's the most important question, and frankly, the one that we should all be focused on. And I would like to see just what those impacts would be if this isn't relicensed.
I don't have quantitative numbers for you. Qualitatively, if we don't relicense, then it's essentially the power that we then have to purchase for our well pumps.
Right. And I just trying to get a sense of what the differential is between what we generate versus what we'd purchase from outside. Are there other folks that draw power from this that would be impacted? I'm just trying to understand all those nuances because I think that's pretty important for the 7 of us.
Right. Yeah, there hasn't been an analysis on the impacts if we don't relicense. Besides using our own power, we do sell wholesale to Avista, so there is some, net revenue from that
Okay.
impacts the water rates.
Well, I'll just make a request that we as time allows, that we get that data in the next couple of months or a few weeks.
We do have the data of how much electricity we generate versus how much we purchase. I can get you the numbers. It equates into about the $4 million per year that's generated out there, should we have had to buy all that power.
Okay.
But I can get you all the data off that with our REACH and power sales agreement.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Councilmember Klitze.
Thanks. Could you also possibly provide an idea of what it would cost to decommission a dam and what other services the dam would, it is already providing besides electrical generation, if any?
Well, so Portland Water Bureau, I'm aware that they took a look at that, the cost to decommission versus relicensing. And I can get you that study. They concluded that it was lesser cost to relicense than to decommission in their case.
Anyone else? Questions, comments? All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Then we'll go to item number 2, which is the Comstock resolution on simplifying the scope of traffic calming projects. And Abby's going to brief that.
Good afternoon, Council President and Council members. This is just for me to publicly acknowledge for all of you that we received a Comstock Neighborhood Council resolution asking for a project that they had requested and had offered feedback on as part of the traffic calming workshops, just a simplification of the scope of that project and reduction in the scale of it. So we've received that. Councilmember Dillon and Councilmember Navarrete and Andres went to the neighborhood council last week.
So this is just about a specific project for them, not more of a broader change
No.
of policy?
It's a specific project for them that they are saying, this seems pretty grandiose, and actually our basic ask would be better consolidated this way.
Only thing I would add is, I think the resolution's fine, but there should be a more streamlined way for them to communicate that rather than a resolution, right? Like, that's a pretty cumbersome process.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, I would
Councilmember
just
Singh.
comment that I think, if a lot of neighborhoods would also probably share the sentiment of trying to scale back their projects. And I think that's something that we've talked about, but they haven't clearly taken a resolution stance like that. But I know going around my neighborhoods, they're very supportive of trying to get more projects out quicker.
Yeah, I think that's probably good ongoing work for us all to take on. Thank you.
All right, we'll go to the discussion items. Item number 1, I guess, which is with Dan Buller, the administrative reserve increase at Hamilton Construction.
Was there specific questions about this, or would you like me to just talk about why I'm here? Okay. Well, first of all, I might say that the Washington Street Bridge, one way each direction, is scheduled to open on a week from today, and then both lanes each direction 2 weeks from today. Today's rain might hold that back a day or two, but we're very close to being done. These bridges are very old, and the process for resurfacing them involves, you might compare it to sandblasting a wall of old paint, and if the paint is pretty sound, except for you do it with water instead of sandblasting. So it's actually we scrape off the top inch with a water hydroblast. And where there's weak concrete, just like if you were sandblasting your paint, if you all of a sudden, if the paint's in pretty good condition, minimal comes off. If it's in really bad condition, then all of a sudden a whole bunch comes off. And what we had here was the aggregate. In cement, there's rock, and these days the rock is 3/4 inch minus. But in those days, when this bridge was built 100 years ago, the rock is maybe 3-4 inches in diameter. You'll see that on older house foundations. And so when we water blasted that off, all those rocks came out, which created these big holes, which created more material to clean up, but then it also created more material to put back. That's in the 150 grand range. But even more problematic is as you're going through there with this hydroblaster, back to my paint illustration, if all of a sudden it hits weak concrete, which we found some weak concrete, it takes that concrete with it. And that was underneath the rebar. So this rebar is this mesh, and so then you're removing the concrete beneath the rebar, which is a labor-intensive jackhammers, and there is no quick way of doing it, and that's the biggest part of this change order. And what we found at that location, it was about 4,000 square feet, was this had been done several times in the past because there were multiple generations of concrete within that 4,000 square feet. Hopefully, we've solved this so that we'll all be long gone before that ever happens again, but apparently this had been a problem before. So then the next question would be, well, what was the problem with the concrete then? And nobody knows. I mean, it was 50, 60, 70 years. It was low quality right there. Don't know.
All right. Any questions for Dan? All right. Thanks for that very detailed update. Next item, number 2 on this agenda, which is the public rule water update to fees and cost with Lauren Searle.
Good afternoon. This item is an update to the public rule for water fees. Basically, that is a utility charge that we could put on for the customers. Most of these are tap and meter permits. Anytime they build a new house, they want a tap, they pay a tap permit, and this is the fee to cover that. We update these fees every year to match what current pay and price for those parts are. These are all calculated out by our cost to actually install that item for the customers. So generally, throughout the all of the items that are listed, most of them are about a 1% increase. There are some that are a 27% decrease, some that are a 27% increase. It's a balance out of what the current costs for those parts were for this year. Generally, over the course of the average all of them out, it's would be about a 3% increase in those fees.
Question? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, item number 3, which is low bid award of the Stevens Elementary area pedestrian improvements. Are you doing that one too?
Number 3, yes.
Oops, that was consent, sorry.
That-
The lead service line inventory, there we go.
Lead service line is actually the service line inventories. So recently, we were instructed by EPA to do a service line inventory of all the services that we have. So generally, a service line is the pipe that goes from the water main to the house. The city owns and maintains from the water main to the property line. From the property line on private property is owned and maintained by the residents. Generally, we had about 1,500 of these that were installed somewhere in 1941 to 1944, where we had made the decision to go to lead service lines. We did about 1,500 of them at the time. Most of the contractors at that point were still installing galvanized on property. So most of those we found lead in the street, galvanized on property. The city has seen a lot of these changes coming through, and we made the cautious decision to start to replace our lead service lines. And in 2016, we actually went out to replace every single one of them that were left. By 2018, we had replaced all known lead service lines in the city. The city also does test for lead and copper in the residents' homes every 3 years per EPA regulations. EPA established the lead and copper rule in 1991. Since then, we've gone out and tested all of those services, not all of the portions of those services for lead on pipes that we knew had lead in them, or on copper on homes that have copper in them. This lead and copper rule was updated in 2021 and recently a couple of weeks ago again. The more recent updates are what has brought us to this, that we're required to make an inventory of every service line and what kind of pipe is on that service line. For EPA's requirement, they classify a service as lead, galvanized requiring replacement, or non-lead. So if it was copper or HDPE or PVC or all that, that's all non-lead items. So their big focus was lead and galvanized requiring replacement. Those galvanized lines have the ability to absorb parts of the lead that was leaching out of the pipe into the galvanized and hold on to that for extended periods of time. So that's why we're looking at those ones right at this point. Our inventory is managed in GIS. This information is also publicly available. Each homeowner can go on the public's GIS site and see this information. It's kind of a hodgepodge of the way it lays out. Some of these houses, if are 3718, that just shows one long pipe going in there. That was an original depiction in GIS. And now we've started breaking them out further. That one whole line will say what kind of pipe is on that line. And if you get over 3704, it's got a little triangle in the middle of it. That's the curb stop. That's a newer depiction of the line. So some of those might say copper in the street, galvanized on property, whatever type of pipe is on those. Generally, throughout GIS, there are 135,000 of those little segments that we put together for the report. What we've reported on, there's 85,716 total services in the city. That's every service that was put in with a meter on it or future development. So there's a lot of lots out there that may have had a service for the last 20 years and no one's built a house on the lot yet. We still reported on all of those. Over the course of the last few years, we've gone through to get rid of all of our unknown columns in there to make this report happen. We reported 0 unknowns and 0 lead services in the city. There are, however, 1,001 galvanized requiring replacement by the EPA's classification. Those are those original 1,500 lead services. 1,001 of them still have galvanized on the private property. So every year we perform about 2,000 tests for over 200 different kinds of contaminants. We test for lead and copper every 3 years out of a representative sample within the residence. Since we removed all the service lead service lines, we still sample those same homes for lead. So we have some data in there that we know what that house has done in the past. We have met all standards required of this since 1991. And all of our samples that we have taken in the past are below the 90th percentile, even for the newly introduced limit of 10 parts per billion. So though the 90th percentile of all the homes, even with the lead service on them, remain below that action level. There are additional sources for the lead. Inside those homes, when we were putting lead services, they used lead solder as well. So we see a lot of lead soldering that leaches out and affects those samples within the homes. Our next requirement is we will be sending out a letter to all of the 1,001 customers with galvanized within the next month. By the middle of November, we'll send out letters informing them that we do indicate that they have a galvanized line that was connected to lead in the past. Yes, sir.
Wondering, has there been any conversation around setting up something similar to the sewer program that we have set up so people can get a loan basically to get the sewer fixed? Is there
Yes,
any
sir.
conversation of something
Yes,
like
sir.
that for these?
Yes, that's on the next slide. Gotcha. When those letters go out, we're informing 311 that we're starting this communication with customers, giving them talking points, how to talk with the customer, and offering the services of the water department to assist those customers, to come and help them actually identify what they have, understand the ruling, and if need, we are also available to do additional testing for that residence, so that residents can make that decision if it's important for them to replace their pipe or not.
Lauren,
Yes.
is that testing at an additional cost?
There is additional cost for
homeowner.
that testing. Not for the homeowner.
Not for the
We
homeowner.
intend that we have a water quality lab. We send these samples out, but we have people that's what they do. We would prefer our professionals taking the sample and knowing how the sample was taken. And
Thanks.
should the residents actually decide that they still want to replace that service, there is a current program set up by City Council for low-interest loans in order to help homeowners repair their lines, water lines and sewer lines. Low-interest loan programs for qualified residents, generally below 80% AMI, within our service area, and must have a qualifying project such as a leak or the hazardous service of this nature. And that is a program administered through SNAP and recently approved by the council and recently enacted. So, new program. Any questions on that?
For the 1,001,
Yes.
what is the window that you're trying to address all this?
So we will be sending out the letters by the middle of November. And then from that point, it becomes the homeowner's idea of when they need to deal with it. We are offering, we're available to assist them and take samples. And many of those, as I said, those samples that we've taken in the past, most of those remain at such a low concentration. Homeowners might decide that it's so far below that 10 parts per billion, it's not important for them. Some of them might decide it's any amount and they want to replace the service anyways. But that responsibility is on the homeowner.
So there's no aspirational deadline that we would like to see compliance?
We are not mandating any, and EPA is not mandated that the homeowners replace them either. The EPA has only mandated that we inform them what they have.
Great. Any other questions for Lauren? Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for allowing me to step out. Before I go any further, on the consent items, there were a couple that wanted to be pulled for discussion. Did we get their council members at home?
No, I didn't.
I know there was item on number 15 on the consent agenda, and there was item number 7 on the consent agenda that wanted to be pulled for discussion. So if you all will let me work through these, I will add those at the very end. Okay, next up is we have the ordinance amending the Transportation Commission.
Good afternoon again. This ordinance has several edits. The ones included before you are language around the community assemblies representative, noting that they have a representative liaison to the Transportation Commission, not a member of the Transportation Commission, so it's an edit there. And then, in addition, a repeal of the CSAC, the Citizens Streets Advisory Council, that had just been overlooked and not cleaned up in the code. So those are two. And then I've just circulated to you all the Downtown Spokane Partnership had recommended language edits for their portion. So,
Any other questions for Abby on that? All right, thank you.
okay. And just stay.
But I think you're up for the automated red
Yeah.
light. I'll let you
I
continue.
know. I tried to sneak away, but that would be unfair. The second thing that I have before you is an ordinance concerning revenues from automated safety cameras. We've previously referred to this as the Traffic Calming Fund, and the Traffic Calming Fund, yeah, Jacoby, you can advance. Thank you. Sorry. Was established for the purpose of, quote, traffic calming measures. HB 2384, this past legislative session, had a lot of edits and things for us to work with to come into compliance. So this ordinance also incorporates those to make sure that our SMC and our RCW are aligned. Some of those edits are on permissible locations, uses for funds generated from these types of cameras, the allowance for non-commissioned officers to be the ones reviewing the citations, and edits to the citation amounts. And then this ordinance repeals also the sunset of funds generated from the traffic safety cameras.
You have the clicker down there, Abby.
Thank you. And I know your favorite thing is to tell people to go down, and I just went up. This ordinance also kind of expands upon the Janet Mann Safe Streets Now resolution and executive order, just making sure that our streets are safe and open for all. It would rename the Traffic Calming Fund the Safe Streets, Spokane Safe Streets Fund. Any other commentary or questions?
Councilmember Cathcart.
Yeah, I mean, I obviously have a pretty strong difference of opinion on this one, but my only question for this committee is, has the Guild actually negotiated, has there been a negotiation with the Guild to allow the substituting of a non-officer to do this work?
I don't know that we've even gotten
Okay.
that far. It's just acknowledging the allowance of that.
Okay, so we're not, so the proposal isn't to actually change it. It's
not
to
to
say
assign.
that we could.
It's just to say, it's just to acknowledge the legislation that came through with HB 2384. Yeah, thank you, good question.
Any other questions for Abby? All right, thank you, Abby.
Okay, thank you.
Next, we're going to have number 6, the resolution requesting traffic calming measures on Post Street Bridge.
Good afternoon, council members. This resolution is pretty simple. I just request the administration, if necessary, purchase a stop sign and some speed tables for the Post Street Bridge to sort of reduce speeds by cars on the Post Street Bridge. Any questions?
Yeah, no questions. I just say, I mean, I'm fine doing this, but I guess big picture, I worry because I don't know that this is a top priority. We have a number of projects and things, and yes, it's a small amount of money, but I'm pretty fearful that we are going to be in the negatives effectively going into traffic calming, our traffic calming budget next year, which means we've got to really buckle down and really prioritize. And so I just think this, like other things, we need to have a better way of understanding, like, what are those priorities? Is it this bridge that I think is fairly well traffic calmed? Or is it other places? But I mean, if we think there's some benefit, I'm fine with this, but I'll just say DSP hasn't said anything, the Riverside neighborhood hasn't said anything, No adjacent neighbor has said anything, with one exception, and that was, can you add a speed limit sign? That was the only request that I've made, and I passed that along to the administration. But I haven't heard any requests for any of this other stuff. And so at some point, shouldn't there be some nexus between what the community is asking for specifically? So again, happy to try it, but I think we've got to figure out some priorities because we don't have a lot of money.
Any other questions for Jackson? Thank you. And next, we're going to have number 7, the Urban Mobility Network Resolution. Spencer.
Good afternoon, Council. Jackson is a lot taller than I am.
Spencer, because this was sent in PDF, I'll have to click through for you.
Oh, okay. Okay, next slide then. Speaking of priorities, and one of the concerns that I think I have had since I started as the planning director is the comprehensive plan, especially around transportation and specifically active transportation or infrastructure for people walking and biking, gives us a vision for a long-term future that we want to go to, but it doesn't really say a whole lot about how we want to prioritize those investments, or in a limited budget situation, where we want to dedicate those to have the most bang for the buck. So this presentation today is, I guess, a proposal of sorts that we think would help create a short-term goal to eventually build towards that long-term vision that's in the comprehensive plan. Next slide. So I think the first and most important thing, there are two important things, I guess. The first is that connectivity is essential. If we only have just to give an example of a bike lane, if the bike lane goes for a half a mile on one stretch of road, but then on either end of it, you are left to your own devices with a lot of high-speed car traffic, that bike lane, I wouldn't say is completely useless, but it is significantly reduced in its effectiveness because it doesn't connect to anything else. So you may have, for somebody who happens to have a trip along that half-mile stretch of bike lane, it might be helping them, but for somebody who's commuting from further out on one end to somewhere else on the other end, it's really not making that trip viable for them. And so that's one of the big concerns that I have right now. I think we've built our network out in an opportunistic fashion, which is great because we're able to leverage existing projects and we've been very cost effective with that. But when those projects are done opportunistically because we're doing some work here or we happen to be repaving a road over here, we don't get that network effect, the connectivity effect that's really important. Next slide. So the second really important thing is that comfort matters. If your facility doesn't feel safe to the people trying to use it, it really isn't providing, it's not a realistic option for them. So those two factors, connectivity and comfort, are really driving this proposal that we'll talk about. You can go to the next slide. As we know, infrastructure can be really expensive, and even infrastructure that is not expensive can be really complicated. We just actually heard about the Post Street Bridge. I snapped a photo here. The Post Street Bridge is a good example. It was a very expensive project. I think the bike ped portion of it was not really an expensive aspect, but it was complicated, even though the addition of the bike ped facility was not necessarily expensive. It was complicated. There had to be a lot of discussions during the design phase as we talked about the potential impacts to traffic and things like that. So even for infrastructure that is not expensive, it does take a lot of work and time to think through the potential impacts of a project. And in terms of building a network, these projects, if they're not viable, aren't really providing a benefit. If we can't afford to build the bike lane, there's no bike lane there, so nobody can use it. So we're keeping that in mind as well in this proposal. You can go to the next slide. So the core of what we're proposing would really focus on existing infrastructure. This is a picture of my kids here on my street. We live on a quiet residential street. I don't know the count of cars because it's not busy enough to even get regular counts, but it's probably in the single hundreds, if that, on a given day. That street does not need infrastructure. We don't need to go out and paint anything. There's no striping on the road currently. The traffic volumes are so low and the speeds are so low that we don't need to spend money to make that a bike-friendly or a walking-friendly or rolling-friendly place. It's already there. But back to the connectivity problem, if you go a few blocks down, you hit a major arterial, and my kids can't cross that because it's got heavy traffic volumes. So we asked ourselves, how could we build a connected, high-comfort network without spending a lot of public resources? What's the most cost-effective way that we could do that? You can go to the next slide. So this is the network that we are proposing. It looks like the image is partially cut off, so I apologize for that. There we go. We're calling this our 27 by 2027 proposal. The idea that we have come up with on the administration side, and that we're asking for council to weigh in on, and we're hoping that we can develop a kind of a shared vision around this, is that we would build 27 miles of new, fully connected network by 2027. That's a significant amount of mileage. That's a very ambitious goal. But we think we can get there, and for the reasons that I already highlighted about a lot of our infrastructure already being there, we really need to pay attention to some key locations in the network in order to unlock all of those possibilities. So the proposal would focus on using adaptive design and quick build strategies. There's been a lot of conversation about adaptive design. We think that it will be more effective on the staff side if we can focus on a common vision rather than responding to requests in sort of a scattershot manner. And so this helps us all to be on the same page about what we're building towards. We just went through a process with a national group that I guess provides training to cities on how to accelerate building of their bike networks. Some of you may have been interviewed by them. I know there were a number of people on the administrative side that were interviewed. One of the key strategies, or I guess one of the key questions that came out of that process was they said, what are you building towards? If you're going to accelerate, you need to be accelerating towards a goal. We see this as the goal that we accelerate towards. We would be focusing on high comfort routes, and we would be focusing on tying into our existing trail network. So the hope is, again, that we're leveraging those low-cost existing infrastructure, tying into our existing trail network, and only making improvements where they're needed to connect those disparate pieces of infrastructure. We've also looked at the traffic calming projects.
Councilmember Bingle has a question, so I want to pause for a minute. Councilmember Bingle?
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. I have some questions later on the quick build strategies. We're currently dealing with a situation in the Northeast where a quick build strategy went quite poorly in the neighborhood, and so I don't know if this is the appropriate time to ask, how we're determining what our quick build strategies are, or what projects are chosen that are quick build. But I've got some questions.
Yeah, maybe we can catch that at the end. I do have some examples that maybe we could go through. We also looked at traffic calming projects that are in the pipeline. We've tried to leverage some of those so that the programs are sort of overlapping. The way the network is, we can't capture every traffic calming project. So, this isn't necessarily doesn't overlay perfectly with traffic calming projects, but we did look at that. Councilmember Cathcart?
So I guess then, is there going to be some expectation that we're going to have to choose the traffic calming projects that match up to these bike lanes?
That's not the proposal currently, and I actually have a slide about that. I think you can go to the next one. Let's see. Oh, I'll get you in 2 slides maybe. I think one key aspect here is that we really want to focus on data-driven solutions. And so the goal would be to collect pre and post information when a project goes in so that we're actually seeing the impact. We now have the mobile speed units, which can collect information about the speed and the volume of traffic there. And again, using adaptive design strategies to potentially even make adjustments if something's not working. The chart on the right actually comes from NACTO. We've adopted NACTO standards as one organization to look at for street design standards at the city. This is their a decision chart that they've created for what they call All Ages and Abilities Network. I call it a high comfort network. You could come up with different names, but it's not your typical bike facility chart. It's actually focused on making sure that anybody from the age of 8 to the age of 80 can get on a bike and be comfortable. So it puts a lot of emphasis on low traffic, low volume streets, low speed streets, or where you're not achieving those low volumes and those low speeds, there's a high emphasis on protected infrastructure, actual physical barriers. So we would probably be using that as a guide when we're actually making these data-driven decisions. So just as an example, if we build a portion of the network and then we discover that the traffic volumes are high enough that it puts it out of a comfortable range for what the guidance shows us, then we would look at what's the next step in the infrastructure. What can we build that creates a high comfort location here? Yeah.
At what speed then would we do protected bike lanes? I can't read that from here.
The chart says anything 25 miles an hour or above, and above 1,500 cars a day.
So I guess my question is, who has decided that paint next to cars going 20 miles an hour is perfectly safe, but 25 miles an hour not safe?
So again, we'd be looking at our NACTO guidance. That's our adopted standards for these things.
Because I'll just say, I would not let my child ride on a painted, where we got 20 mile an hour traffic going by, a lot of it, doesn't matter. I'm not going to let him do that.
Yeah. I mean, we really focus on the standards that come from NACTO. That's what we've adopted, and I think that provides us some pretty good guidance. I wouldn't say that there's, I mean, certainly if there's a situation where we feel like it's not providing the safety or comfort that we need, we would certainly look at additional solutions there. You can go to the next slide. Okay, what about our existing plans? And I would put traffic calming in this as well. Next slide. We're not proposing that we throw any of this out or that we redo any of the work that's been going on. So this isn't a proposal to displace the traffic calming program or to take away what's in the comprehensive plan in terms of bike facilities. Again, we're really talking about prioritizing and coalescing around a vision for the community that provides a connected and comfortable network throughout the entire city. Next slide. So I've said this in a couple of meetings around the city. What we're talking about is a network that makes a promise, and that promise is that if you can get somewhere on that network, if you live a couple of blocks away and it's easy for you to bike over to that network, you can get anywhere else on that network, and you know that that infrastructure has been designed for you to be comfortable. Right now, just because there's a bike lane down the street from me does not guarantee to me that I can get to the other side of the city by following that bike lane. The purpose of this network is really to communicate to the city, to everybody that wants to use that network, this is where you go to get that high quality, safe ride. This is also the first step, so we intend to expand on this. And like I said, long term, our goal would be for every street in the city to be comfortable for everybody that wants to use it. But we have to start somewhere, and we have to identify those priorities. Go ahead to the next slide. So I know funding is a question. We don't have a specific funding proposal for this at this point. The purpose of the resolution would really be to register support from council and to signal to the city that this is a united vision across the city to build something that we think will make an improvement in people's lives. The funding question is certainly important, and it's one that we have put some thought into, but we don't have any specific proposals. We do think there are some grant opportunities that we can go after that would give us funding. This is a 3-year timeline, so it's very aggressive, but we think that there may be some grants. We do receive revenue from Wheelshare, so that's another option, especially if we're talking about like a local match for a grant. We do receive traffic impact fees. The use of those is somewhat limited, so we can't build the whole network with that, but there may be a couple of locations in the network where we could add those to the traffic impact fee list and have those built if there's an actual connection to new development. Traffic calming has been discussed. There may be a place for some traffic calming funds, but we're not proposing anything specific. Transportation benefit district dollars is another option. We could also look at external partnerships. Just an example, if one of our local partner agencies is doing work nearby in the right-of-way. Spokane Transit Authority, for example, is sometimes rebuilding stops or other infrastructure. It could be an opportunity for us to partner with them and create, or I guess leverage work that's going on to expand on the network. So we've looked at the total costs. This is very much a draft number, but we think that it's in the neighborhood of about $6 million to build the entire network. That's a significant amount of money. But for 27 miles of connected bikeways, that's actually a pretty cost-effective solution, we feel. So that's kind of the funding side, and then I think that might be my last slide. Oh, there is one thing in there I wanted to make sure we covered. There is some language in the resolution that talks about Division Bus Rapid Transit. That is there by design. There has been some question raised recently about the need for bike lanes to accompany the Bus Rapid Transit project on Division. The locally preferred alternative and the Division Connects process that was adopted by council and has been sort of the regional vision for Bus Rapid Transit on Division did not include bike lanes, but it did include bus-specific lanes, or what they call BAT lanes. Our thought is that this 27 by 2027 network can meet the needs of people traveling by bike through the Division corridor without negatively impacting the operations on Division by putting a bike lane there. And so since there are some questions about that across the region, we wanted to include some language about that. We see that this 27 by 27 network can be a partner with the Division BRT to create better mobility through the Division corridor. So there is a little bit of language about that, and I'm happy to answer questions if there are any about it. And I think that is my last slide.
Councilman Cathcart, then I'll go back to Councilmember Bingle if you want to address that.
Yeah, and I wanted to emphasize, I have the same questions, or I guess perhaps similar questions. Obviously, this is a little different than traffic calming. This is bike lanes specifically, but there are issues on standard that are not working for literally anybody up there. And so I'm sure that's the focus of his questions, but I would like to just maybe talk a little bit more about what are the proposed separation materials. So obviously you're emphasizing that most of this is going to be paint, but what are we talking about for creating actual separation, bumps if the car drifts over, the candlesticks, what are the visible separation type proposals that we're going to put, and are they going to go on every street? Only some, really trying to get a sense of what that looks like.
Yeah, I think it would be very context specific. Again, we'd be looking at guidance from NACTO. If you want to go forward, Jacoby, I think I've got some slides that show some examples. So there's an example of a curb extension. This isn't from the city of Spokane. This is actually from Minnesota. But that's an example where they've used channelizers or candlesticks, whatever you want to call them, to physically separate that space. Those are just plastic, so of course if somebody drives over the plastic, they'll enter into that space. But it creates a visual narrowing of the road and has a tendency to slow traffic down as it's passing by. And then it also shortens the crossing distance because you can venture out into that painted area, and the traffic is sort of avoiding that because of the channelizer. So it shortens your crossing distance. That's an example of an infrastructure solution that uses those adaptive strategies that we would look at, again, on a context-specific basis, but if there's an intersection where we feel like it's appropriate, we would look at that. I have a couple of other images here, and Councilmember Bingle, maybe this will help answer your question too, so go ahead to the next one. This is a PED hybrid beacon. This is heavier infrastructure, so this actually, these make up a significant portion of the cost estimate because we think about 6 locations where we would need to put in a PED hybrid beacon. We've tried to leverage existing hybrid beacons or signalized crossings of major arterials where it makes sense, but there are some locations where we would probably need to add some PED hybrid beacons. So that's an actual red light that stops the traffic. So that's a crossing of a major arterial. Next slide. Here's an example. This just uses, you can get these concrete cylinders. They're used in utility infrastructure and things, so they're not very expensive. This is just an example where if you have a traffic volume on a street that exceeds what we prescribe for a certain level of comfort, one potential solution is that you can divert traffic by forcing them to turn when they get to a certain intersection. That's not one that we're proposing to use in significant locations. Certainly not on any kind of through street, but if you're on a side residential street that doesn't carry high volumes of traffic, but it's just high enough to make it uncomfortable, that's one solution that can be used in some locations. Next slide. Crossing islands is the other one. And again, we're in these pictures, they're relying on paint and channelizers. So I think when we're talking about adaptive low-cost designs, that's really what we're talking about. There could be situations where something heavier like an actual concrete barrier may make sense.
The last thing I would just maybe make a point of is, you're talking about being data-driven, which I think is great and important. And I'm hoping soon we're going to get bike counters and get those installed on all of our different bike infrastructure areas so that we can really get a sense of, what this is doing. And so I guess in some ways, is there a commitment that as we move forward with these or others, that we're going to be looking at that type of data to understand are we actually moving the needle? Are we actually increasing the usage? I mean, we had that presentation recently that talked about, I can't remember the number, it was some minuscule number that we were hoping to achieve by 2040, which I think is nuts that that's the small number. But I think, is there a commitment, though, that being data-driven, we're going to look at numbers. We're going to look at the specifics and say, hey, people are not using this facility. What did we do wrong? How do we fix it? Or what do we do completely differently from before? I don't think we ever do that. We don't ever, at least not that's brought to us, those conversations, maybe internally among staff. But, we never really have that deep dive of how do we do something better or differently than we did it before. And so I'm just hoping with that data available, and I'm, again, hoping we get those purchased and installed ASAP, that we'll be able to do that.
Yeah, so we do have some bike counters that are deployed currently. I think in the theme of gathering data, that would be certainly something we would want to include into the program. Gathering bike data, we don't have a lot of equipment to do that, and we can purchase the equipment, or we can go out and find consultants who can put the equipment down. So there are ways to gather that information, and I think as we're building out this network, that would certainly be something we want to look at. I guess the one caution I have is that back to the need for it to be a connected network, we may not see the full impact of a specific project until it forms a part of a larger network. So seeing that an individual project did not really move the needle in terms of the number of people using it, I don't think would mean a whole lot until we see that there is a larger network attached to it, and that would then give us a better idea of what's working and what's not.
Well, if we move ahead with this, I wouldn't imagine changes before 2027, right? I mean, you're going to get to the end, and then we can look at that data and say, oh, should it have actually gone this way and not all the way over here?
Yep,
I just want to be smart about what we're doing, since we're talking about spending a good amount of money on this, and we're even talking about potentially, increasing TBD fees and traffic impact fees, and I mean, those are things that are going to affect my constituents in a significant way. Not to mention impact fees affecting the cost of housing and all that. So it just ripple effects of, what this will actually cost the community in terms of that. So what are we getting for it? We should have firm data that says, hey, this has moved the needle. We've reduced traffic X%. We've increased bicycle commuting by X%. We should be able to measure all that.
Yeah, thank you. And I agree, 2027 would be a great check-in for that. Just to clarify, we're not proposing raising those fees. We're just saying those could be uses of the fee revenue that we get currently.
Well, it would be diverting street projects, which would be a bigger issue.
Yeah.
Councilmember Klitzky, then Councilmember Zappone.
Thanks. I really appreciate this approach. I'm excited about looking at a network. There's nothing more frustrating than a half-mile bike lane, and also it's not a great opportunity for data collection, because how many people are you really capturing? How is that a meaningful part of their trip? So I'm really excited about the way we're doing that. I think that we need to start looking at bikes as bikes. It's a lot different than pedestrians, and it's a lot different than cars. They have a longer range, but we do tend to think about shoving them onto our arterials. And I don't think our goal is to have every mode on every road. I think we have to have a route that is safe for everyone. Pedestrians have a shorter range, so they need more coverage, but bicycles can survive on a network. And I think this is a great start. They can go a little further to get onto their safe infrastructure. So I do really appreciate that. And I also think that we're doing a good job looking at parallel routes, which are cheaper and more comfortable to ride on. I think ways that we've looked at things previously is, like I said, shoving the bikes onto arterials and thinking like cars instead of thinking like bikes. But if we put them on parallel routes, not only are they seeing lower traffic volumes on near their infrastructure, it's less expensive to put it on there. Sometimes we can find plenty of right-of-way, and they're just more comfortable to ride on. So if we create this network and we educate folks about the network and we use context-specific infrastructure to make it whole, I think we're going to see a lot of results. As far as data, I'd like to see us look at volunteer opportunities and like point-in-time type counts for bicycle traffic on days where it would make sense with volunteers, rather than investing in a whole bunch of infrastructure. I understand why we would want to have bike counters. It sounds easy, but I think maybe it might be easier to do like some other organizations have and just get volunteers out there counting.
Okay, so I have Councilmember Zepone, Councilmember Dillon, and Councilmember Bingle. And at that point, we're going to move on to complete the rest of the agenda. Councilmember Zepone.
Yeah, I just want to say that I think this is really exciting, and I really appreciate the thought behind this and the aspiration and the vision. I think that's something that a lot of people in our community are looking for, and so I want to thank you and the team for everyone working on this, and I'm excited to be supporting it, and I hope to one day see both programming around activating it too. It's not just about building it, but just like with most things, trying to get people to use it and changing behaviors takes some activation. And I know when I lived in Colombia, I would actually travel to Bogota to go do a similar thing of ciclovia or summer parkways. And I think it's a great economic generator too for our community, where we could be a place where people can come and have food trucks and events along this route and really enjoy the summer or spring or fall or good biking weather. So very excited about this.
Councilmember Dillon?
Yeah, I'll be quick. I know I pitched the Lilac Loop, but I like 27 by 27. It's a great name. And again, appreciate all the work that went into this. I think it's a really exciting vision. I guess just really quickly, if you can kind of help illustrate a little bit more about that vision for folks at home. I was really excited about naming 25th and using that as a connector, but it is a narrower road width. So I guess for folks at home, what does that sort of look like in practice to sort of visualize what this potential new design or facilities could look like on a narrower street?
So like in the example of 25th specifically, so it might depend on where you're at, what the cross-section looks like. I think there are portions of 25th that are very residential and quiet, probably no change needed. There may be a small portion, especially as you get closer to Grand, where there is a signal for crossing, where we may have to look at protected bike lanes or something like that. That could, it's hard to speak to a specific situation. I don't remember exactly what 25th looks like. That could have some parking impacts, localized on just one specific block or something like that. So those are things that we'll have to study and figure out. Again, we're really going to be driven by what the guidance tells us from our adopted standards as to what's appropriate and where. So we would want to be driven by the traffic counts. It may be that the counts are low enough across all of 25th that we're not actually needing much other than, perhaps helping to slow cars down, but not actually a bike lane needed. And we'll kind of be driven by our adopted standards for that.
Councilmember Bingle.
Yeah, thank you. I've got a couple questions here. So you keep saying, our adopted standards. Was that a staff adoption or a council adoption?
NACTO is one of the adopted standards through council action.
And did that come through one of our updates recently, or has that been in there for a while?
That's been a standard for quite a while.
Okay, all right. So I like the ideas behind the connected bike lanes. I think it makes a lot of sense. Again, particularly, I think I say e-bikes every time, but I think it is going to open up a lot more people to the biking world than previously. I like the idea of the volunteer point in time count as well, Councilmember Klitsky. I think that would make a lot of sense for us and tap into some of those volunteer organizations. I guess the only thing that I would say as we're going forward, I don't like the idea of removing lanes from vehicle traffic to accommodate other things, especially where it doesn't make sense. For example, I voted against the BRT because I don't like the idea of eliminating lanes of traffic. But if we can find ways to make that all work together, I think that this is an exciting direction that we're going. So the one thing though was maybe I'll just call you a separate time and we can have a conversation about what happened on Standard and whether or not that's what the rest of the city is going to look like. Because if it is, then I'm probably pretty anti this plan. So we can chat.
Happy to talk.
Okay. Thank you, Spencer, for that. I'm sure there's more to come. People be thinking about it. Reach out to Spencer if you have more questions.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we're going to have Dawn up with the Washington Department of Commerce, a Row Initiative. You can just take both of them, Dawn, at the same time.
Hello, Council President and Council members. So these are 2 row contracts. Council adopted an SBO on August 26th this past summer to accept the funds. These are the contracts attached to those funds. So there's 2 contracts, both being amended, so existing contracts with Washington State Department of Commerce. The first, ending in 1-4, is the contract that provides row funding specifically to the operations for the track shelter, not to extend it, but to help fund its operations that have already been underway, as well as provide some funding for I2 Strategies, which is the state encampment resolution consulting group that's been in use. The second contract, ending in 11, is the contract with the city directly to help fund HMIS staffing and operations as we support all of the data behind all of the row projects, including those that we fund and those that the funding flows through EHF to support. So it's bringing both those contracts forward and then allowing us to pass those funds through to I2.
Right. Any questions for Dawn on that? Seeing none? Thank you, Dawn.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to go on to the consent items we pull. Let's start with number 7. And that one was with, Inga's going to do that. The school zone speed limit schedule revisions, Inga. And then after that one, we're going to have number 15, the Austin Road asbestos from Marlene.
All right. Good afternoon, council members. So I understand there was a question about changing the school zone boundary on Marietta.
Yep. Extending that from Morton to Hamilton.
Yeah. So we have to follow RCW 4661-440 when we set speed zones. And based on that, we cannot go more than 300 feet away from the school crosswalk, the marked school crosswalk, or the school boundary. And that's where the existing 20-mile-per-hour sign is now, is 300 feet away.
And what about on the Perry side? Because I know that's stretching it quite a bit further than 300 feet. So I'm just trying to understand what's the difference between Perry and Marietta?
Yeah, so the Perry one, we're actually spanning 2 school zones. So at the northern end, it's for Yasuhara Middle School. At the southern end, it's for kids crossing Perry who are going to Logan. And so at the southern end, it should start 300 feet south of the marked crosswalk. And at the north end, it starts, I don't know, just as you come around the corner. I mean, it effectively could start like right at the corner where the school property is, but we have to give drivers some warning, and they have to be able to see the sign. So it starts a short distance south of Foothills.
And Morton is exactly 300 feet from that crosswalk?
Right now, the sign is at, I wrote it down. It's at the southeast corner of Marietta and Columbus, and so it is approximately.
So you're shrinking it then?
No, because the crosswalk's at let me look at it
Because
here.
Columbus is a block further west from Morton.
Right, and it's 300 feet west of Morton, so it's basically at, I don't know why we said Morton, but it's actually closer to Columbus than it is to Morton.
Okay.
It's right on the corner.
Okay. So basically it's Columbus.
Effectively, yes.
Okay, all right.
Yep.
Well, it's unfortunate we can't, do more, I guess, if state law's in the way, but if that changes or if something else happens, I mean, I think it makes sense to extend this further, especially given just the myriad of issues that have come up in that space.
Yep. Okay.
Thank you, Inga.
Thank you.
Marlene, you want to come on down for the Austin Road asbestos?
Just first, wanted to address Councilmember Bengal's question. I am doing research on all of that. That facility isn't fully installed yet, but I think we should go out there and take a walk with the neighbors and just take a look at that one. And it wouldn't be adaptive. That was actually concrete island, so there's some complications there. But anyway, so I think there's more to come on that one. So I read all your stuff, I just didn't get it all put together on Friday. So the contract that's on the consent agenda is for cleanup that happened on Austin Road, just off of Strong Road. It's a dirt section of Austin Road. There was material that was illegally dumped there and reported to the city, to code enforcement in late July. It was basically some board, like drywall type board. Whenever something like that is dumped, it's presumed to have asbestos. It isn't tested for that, but it's presumed to. So we immediately notified our regulator on that, in that situation, which is the Clean Air Agency. And so we followed their guidelines and were able to finally get a contractor on board who could do the work for us. So what they effectively did was by the way, when we went out there, the neighbors had picked up the boards themselves, so now it was just little pieces that were left. So good, bad, or otherwise, it was gone by the time we got there. Anyway, so what the contractor does is they remove the top 6 inches of soil, or when they hit something hard like rock. So if it's an impenetrable surface, then they only go down as far as that rock. So that's all happened now. And then the street department's going back in and re-graveling the section, and they'll also do some dust abatement on top to be supportive of the neighborhood. So that's the work that will be billed and sent to council for approval.
And Marlene, we don't know who did the dumping. Let's just
No,
get this.
it's just an anonymous illegal dumping. It happens. I mean, illegal dumping is unfortunately more common than we would like. Usually it's something like tires or something like that that's more obvious what you can do with it. In this case, we had some minute particles that we had to deal with based on air quality regulations.
Any other questions for Marlene? All right, I think that's it. That being said, we are adjourned.
Committee updates?
Oh, committee updates. Well, I'll just start with the airport board. You may have seen the press release. Our own Larry Crowder was recently recognized on the national stage as one of the most outstanding airport executives in the country, so we're excited to have him. Also, I can't give you the exact number, but our bond rate was set recently for the bond sales for the expansion at the airport, so more on that to come.
Traffic calming, we talked a bit about this ordinance, plus just some implementation of projects, getting some feedback.
Budget.
Some budget, and trying to figure out the traffic calming budget, and hopefully talking about getting more cameras up soon. So hopefully that keeps moving forward.
Broadlink is just business as usual, nothing to report.
Anything on salmon restoration, Councilmember McCliskey?
There was finally a meeting, but I had 2 conflicts, so Sarah went. But there was some good initial discussion. We found out about some restoration projects happening, and obviously, like, we're going to be looking to that dam relicensing and other issues.
All right, I think that, let's go.
SRTC.
SRTC? Oh, the solid waste is. Nothing on
No
that.
meeting.
The Spokane Regional Transportation Council, we are just wrapping up some things, and we are in the process of our executive director's review, which
Approve
is
the
absolutely
project
amazing.
list.
We're lucky to have her. And what else, Councilor?
We approved the project list.
We approved the
for
project list,
the ranking for the legislature.
which we had several projects on there, I might add. So thank you very much.
STA, the board adopted an updated comprehensive plan last meeting. That comprehensive plan included an equity and inclusion policy. It also redefined fare box recovery to try to incentivize more ridership as a metric, or a way to measure the metric, I guess I should say. We also passed a resolution in support of Connect 2035, the $80 million investment over the next 10 years of in STA projects. Councilmember Klitsky advocated for a project, I don't know, to be added to that. Do you want to mention that?
Like, advocated for an amendment
Yeah.
to the project list. They had a lot of travel on demand pilot, like, projects in other jurisdictions, but nothing in Northeast. So I asked them to add Northeast Spokane.
And the board adopted that. And then we also got an update on the CEO search, and the board was working together on a process that will include inviting community stakeholders to meet the finalists. And so that was kind of the updates there.
Anything else? Any, let's see. Are there any staff reports from neighborhood connectivity or communications?
Doesn't look like they're down here.
All right, not seeing any at this time, then we are adjourned. We'll see you back at 3:30.